What's up, all you movie lover badasses out there? Phat Samurai Guy is here, and today's Blind Buy Adventures episode, I'm going to talk about 4 films today. So as a quick reminder to you viewers out there, I haven't seen any trailers, I haven't seen any footage of these movies. I was just interested. I was kind of in a B-movie mode, if you will. And I just saw the covers and I was like, that looks interesting, and just went ahead and bought them. I haven't seen no trailers, I haven't seen nothing. First up, I give you 1983's Spacehunter, Adventures in the Forbidden Zone. Here's a quick plot synopsis. 3 women make an emergency landing on a planet plagued with a fatal disease, are captured by dictator Overdog. Adventurer Wolf goes there to rescue them and meets Nikki, the only Earthling left from a medical expedition. Combining their talents, they try to rescue the women. What I enjoyed about this movie is that there's definitely a comedic vibe to it. The movie doesn't take itself too seriously. It's very cheesy. Even the theme song is like really cheesy. I also liked the vehicle designs. The vehicle designs look pretty cool. The way they made a train on a track look pretty cool. Like the designs of it look pretty sweet. There was some cool little set designs. I mean, obviously, when you look at the movie, you know, it looks low budget. It looks very low budget. So when you see the way they try to create sets, there was even a scene where they had like this mini game of death where Michael Ironside's character, Overdog, would throw humans down there to go through all these traps and these torture devices. And it was adorable. it was adorable. And, you know, just the way everything looked. I mean, you could tell they were very, you know, they had a lot of budget constraints, but there was some effort to make things look unique in the film. Speaking of looking unique, Michael Ironside as Overdog, he looked pretty cool, man. I mean, you could say he looks cheesy. I think he looks fucking metal, okay? He's got this really cool fucked up face and makeup. You can see his skull's like a metal plate right here. He's got all metal teeth. And he doesn't have legs. He's like in this mechanical contraption that kind of hovers him around kind of thing, as well as having these 2 long mechanical arms that he reaches out and grabs people with. My only real problem with the film is that there really is no space adventure in space. That's kind of the problem. There's no space battles, and unfortunately, majority, maybe about 80% of the film, takes place on the planet. And the planet, even though it has some decent set designs and some interesting looking vehicles, looks very ugly. It's so ugly, it makes planet Tatooine look like a vacation retreat. Okay? It makes Tatooine look like the Bahamas or something. I mean, it's just so brown. It's almost like someone just put a brown filter over the rest of the film. I mean, that's how it looks. And it's not like the Blu-ray quality is like horrible. I mean, it's not great, but it's definitely a step above DVD quality. But it's just that everything's just brown. Brown clothes, brown backgrounds, brown vehicles, everything's brown. Now, if you're making a Mad Max movie, or if you're making some type of post-apocalyptic film, then it would have looked perfectly fine. But if you're expecting a lot of space adventure battles or space adventures in space, you're not going to get it here, unfortunately. The movie almost felt like it was part of a TV series, and in this particular episode, we landed on this planet to have our adventure. And then we get up and then we go off someplace else. That's what it kind of felt like. But you got all kinds of wacky, goofy looking aliens. Got some Doctor Who looking aliens in this movie. I mean, they run into these Amazons and they got this goofy looking dragon that comes out of the water. I mean, just a lot of goofy, wacky stuff. It was fun seeing Ernie Hudson in the movie. He's pretty fun. Molly Ringwald's character got a little annoying. I kind of forgive her a little bit because I think her character was supposed to be young, dumb, and annoying. So I get it. But I mean, it's fine. She's fine. And the end finale throwdown between Wolf and Overdog, it looked like it was straight out of a video game. I mean, it looked like a boss battle. I mean, you got Overdog hovering around, shooting these missiles out of his hands or lasers. And you got, you know, Peter Strauss as Wolf running around these pillars and shooting back. I mean, it looked like some laser tag mini boss or main finale boss battle fight. I mean, but it was fine. It was fun. So overall, I enjoyed Spacehunter. It was a perfect $4-bucker. I paid $4 for this. I was in my B-movie mode, as I was saying earlier, but I enjoyed this. I really would have liked a sequel. I think a sequel could have been done, especially with the three characters coming together at the end, with Ernie Hudson and Molly Ringwald and Peter Strauss. I would love to see them as a team go off on another adventure. And it could still be low budget. It could still be, have that low budget charm. But I think it could have been another fun ride. But for what it was, it's fun. Next up is 1986's Band of the Hand. The plot is basically about these juveniles, these lost causes, okay? They get put in this program where they go out into the jungle and they learn how to use these survival tactics. And this is supposed to help give them pride, a sense of accomplishment, and help reform them, all run by the always awesome Stephen Lang. This movie is goofy. This movie, if you thought Spacehunter was cheesy, this movie is super 80s cheese, but that's what I kind of wanted. That's what I was kind of hoping for when I bought it. So, super 80s cheese down to the music, the clothes, and the plot is ridiculous. It's ridiculous because they go out there and, I get it. You give them a sense of pride and accomplishment and they put them in these do or die situations and whatever. But when they get back to Detroit with Stephen Lang to continue the program, it's like you totally forget that they were even in the jungle the first half of the film. Like, it almost feels like it was two different movies. And whatever they learned in the jungle didn't really translate over here in fighting gang members in the hood. You know what I'm saying? That's not like they used something over there to trick the gang members in the hood. They didn't. Because when they got back here and they all made up their mind to fight with Stephen Lang against the thugs, he basically teaches them on the spot there on how to use guns and how to work as a team, how to become like a hand. But it's such glorious cheese. I mean, even down to the dialogue. When they're out there in the jungle, they're like, "Why you got us out here, man? Why you got us out here, man?" And you got Stephen Lang going, "Well, it's because you guys are all such badasses. The government didn't know what to do with you." You got a really young Lauren Holly in here. You got Lawrence Fishburne, aka Larry Fishburne at the time. And one of my favorite character actors, James Remar, playing the main villain. For some reason, James looked like he was sick like this whole movie. Oh, and I did not buy Stephen Lang as a Native American. I did not buy a badass? Sure. A Native American? No. When I was watching this with Lady Phat Blood, we didn't even know that he was playing a Native American. They kept jokingly calling him Tonto. And I'm like, why? And I'm like, oh, he's supposed to be Native American. I mean, the plot is so ridiculous to the point where you find out that James Remar's character is into black magic. Okay? He's just into black magic. But he doesn't use it or anything, or there's no long past or history or the extension of the subplot of this black magic. There's nothing. You just find out that he's into black magic. That's it. They don't ever talk about it anymore in the movie. This drove Lady Phat Blood crazy, by the way. But yeah, he's just that, I guess, because he's evil. But you get some solid action in the movie. You get some decent shootouts. I love the fact that James Remar's secret drug headquarters for the finale of the movie just busts out this huge, gigantic Gatling gun. Like this huge turret. It just comes out and just bang, starts firing on our Band of the Hand. There's also a scene, okay, where you have our Band of the Hand, our reformed criminals or whatever. They're painting the house that they're living in, and they have these other families that they're sharing the house with, and they're trying to help them out as well. And they kicked out all the drug pushers and the dealers and the pimps and the hoes, and they're trying to, have a positive outlook. By painting on the outside of the house, no pimps or hoes allowed. It was something like that. They didn't put that, but, obviously it wasn't going to offend anyone else in the city. But they're painting it, and then you got all these thugs showing up on the outside, and they're all, making fun of our Band of the Hand guys painting the house, calling them pussies and all that. And then you have the actor, Leon. He comes down there, and he goes, "Oh, yeah? Well, let me see if you guys can do better." And then the next shot is the thugs all painting the house. I was like, really, movie? So overall, the movie's harmless. It's definitely not a horrible movie. You can get some entertainment out of it. Next up, we have 1987 Slaughterhouse. Look at that cover. Look at that. Like, how can I not buy this, blind buy this? Look at that cover. The film is basically about an owner of a slaughterhouse who's facing foreclosure. So he ends up instructing his obese and mentally disabled son to basically go on a killing spree against the people who want to buy his property. Now with this film, you definitely get some cheesy, low-budget slasher fun here. You get some 80s montages, because it's not an 80s film without some montages, man. My favorite part of this movie is the character of Buddy Bacon. This character is ridiculous. One of the most ridiculous killers ever. He has a badass, awesome butcher knife, by the way. I enjoyed his father. The actor was very over the top. But the reason why you will never forget Buddy Bacon, okay, is because he doesn't speak English, okay? When he talks to his father and they communicate, he basically sounds like the pigs that's on their farm. So imagine, imagine Buddy Bacon killing a cop, stealing his police car, okay? You still with me? Putting on the cop hat, driving around chasing after this lady, okay? And on the intercom, you hear police headquarters calling the cop and, you know, like, Agent 53, come in, blah, 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 right? And Buddy Bacon grabs to talking to the intercom and basically says this. Oh my God. My only issue with the film is that when you have this big, huge, gigantic guy with this ridiculously long, awesome butcher knife in a movie titled Slaughterhouse, I kind of expected some slaughter. You know, unfortunately, I mean, you get some decent kills here and there, but unfortunately, I mean, come on, man, this should have been way, way more dismemberment in this movie. I mean, there should have been decapitations, limbs getting cut off. I mean, you get a little bit of that, but not enough for my taste. I mean, come on. I wanted to see some gore here, but maybe because of, you know, the low budget constraints, you know, didn't allow them to have a lot of effects. So, which is unfortunate, but it's still as goofy as all hell, but it's still an entertaining slasher flick. I enjoyed Slaughterhouse for what it was. I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun, but come on, man. Wrap up the gore. And last, we have Beyond the Gates, 2016's Beyond the Gates, starring the always amazing Barbara Crampton. The film is about two estranged brothers. They reunite at their missing father's video store, and they end up finding a VCR board game dubbed Beyond the Gates. And that ends up holding a connection to their father's disappearance. So some of the things I liked in this film was obviously, of course, Barbara Crampton. She's a lot of fun in the film. I love the movie's kind of 80s throwback vibe, even with the soundtrack. Right away, once the movie started and I kind of saw how low budget it was, this is like straight up low budget indie film. My zero expectations kind of went below, it went down, because I was like, okay, it's one of these. All right, let me just, you know, have an open mind and watch and see what this film brings me. So with that in mind, watching the film from beginning to end, the film definitely had a low-budget charm. There was actually a charm to the film. The movie even makes you kind of want to grab a camera anywhere and just go out and film your own, you know, low-budget indie horror film. There's not a lot of gore and there's not a lot of kills in this movie, but there's two. I mean, there is some death and stuff, but there is two really good kills in the movie. I'm not going to spoil it for you guys, but I mean, they're just like, oh, they're glorious. They're just, mwah, it's a thing of beauty. Unfortunately, the low budget look and the pacing of the film is very slow. Okay, warning you guys, it's a very slow burn type of horror film, and the low budget look that I was telling you about, that I thought there was charm in it, it's going to turn a lot of people away. I have a feeling that people are going to watch like the first 5 minutes and be like, nope, next. I see a lot of people finding this movie boring as hell. And that's fine. I mean, to each his own. And some of the acting was kind of on and off. Sometimes it was okay, and then sometimes it was like, eugh. For example, you have the brother, the successful brother with the glasses who looks like Elijah Wood. His acting was fine. It was all right. But then his brother, you know, the burnout, he's homeless and all that, hanging out with the wrong crowd. His acting was, sometimes he was a little funny, but then other times I was like, oh boy. Like, what is that a face expression of concern? or what is this? But I mean, it's okay. It's not horrible acting, but it just felt off sometimes. Like, was this guy being serious or comedic? Like, pick one. Another thing that I liked about the film was that realistically, you would just stop playing the fucking game, because the more you play, the worse things get, right? So, I was telling these idiots, like, hey, just stop playing, just don't play anymore. And they did that. They even threw away the game board at some point. And what I liked was the game didn't let them stop playing. Like, they'd wake up the next morning, the TV would be on, Barbara Crampton's face is like sitting there waiting, the board just mysteriously appeared on the table, and the pieces are set, like, they had no fucking choice but to play. And I kind of like that, they at least gave that excuse for them to keep playing, because you'd think, just close up the board, man, just stop playing, but the game wouldn't let them. So overall, if you're really into low-budget indie horror films and you have a lot of patience, I think you will enjoy Beyond the Gates. I was entertained by it. I mean, I wouldn't say it's a great movie. I wouldn't put it up there as this is one of the greatest horror films of all time. But if you want a little taste of what a demented version of Jumanji might be like, then definitely give Beyond the Gates a try. And that's it for today's video of Blind Buy Adventures. If you've seen any of these movies, let me know what you thought about them in the comments below. As always, I'd like to thank all you guys for watching. You guys rock. And I'll see you next time.
Like, share, subscribe. Like, share, subscribe.